Hello, Playdate. This is Don.
And this is Nick.
And I'm Ryan.
This week we are covering Playdate news,
Indie games of the week,
and using the precise amount of boops to make every host and listener very happy.
Very happy about that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for that, Ryan. Let's get started. We have a lot of news today.
Boopity boop 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 boop. News and notes.
I feel like that was an appropriate amount. We're off to a good start. So the Playdate Community Awards were last week.
Yes, indeed.
Playdate Community Awards 2022, hosted by GovBubs and Gant. Is it just Gant?
Can we say his real name? He's told me his real name, but I'm not sure if that's like public knowledge.
I don't know.
Yeah, like we can only say Superman. We can't say Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Right, well, now you've just exposed Clark Kent too. So,
nice. Regardless, both Superman and GovBubs did quite a lot of work to put this together. So
Tiny Yellow Machine on Twitch is the host and where the awards were hosted, and they luckily created an exhaustive spreadsheet of notes, moment by moment, second by second, even of what happened. I was taking notes the whole time, but this is much more convenient with links and everything. So I know you guys caught bits of it, and they were pushing right up against the other game awards. And so I was itching to double screen it. I don't know if you guys were in the same boat, but
are there any other game awards besides Playdate?
Yes, Ryan,
Game
there
Awards?
are. Yes, there are.
That matter, though?
That matter, not so much. We were fortunate Christopher Judge gave like a 20-minute long speech at the beginning of the other game awards, so it gave us some leeway. But I will say, and I'm not just saying this because this is a Playdate podcast, a lot more exciting stuff happened on the Playdate Community Awards than on the Game Awards. A lot more exciting reveals and whatnot. So, do we want to talk about winners? Do we want to talk about let's talk a little bit about the background process, because the three of us were judges. It was a very time crunchy judge period, I guess. I was out of the country during the judge period, the entire judge period, and was not always around the internet. Nick was in the throes of selling and putting together his game and launching his game, and Ryan was in the middle of a Kickstarter campaign fulfillment process. So it was like we were all running at 11.
We were all the weakest link in this process.
Very much so. So we did the best we could, but it was interesting. So the idea was, in all the categories, the judges, and I think there were 8 judges, we would all kind of give our nominees, and then we would, Gant kept coming back in and like giving us emojis in the Discord to vote on. And I think there was also a Google spreadsheet that we could vote on, and different things were weighted on that. And there's a whole process. So some things were nominated in categories that didn't even show up. It was just the top 4 nominees were filtered down into the nominees. So we ended up choosing the winner, and the other top 3 highest vote getters, besides the top vote getter, were the runners up. But that doesn't mean that other things were not represented in those categories.
So I'm curious if you guys felt this same way. Over the course of the process, I was a little checked out. We talked about how we all had our own excuses for that. And, I would periodically receive these ats on Discords like, hey, Ryan, it's time for you to check in here and do something.
Come vote.
And I would feel guilty about that. And then I would come in and say something. I remember during that process, there were a number of choices to be made. And I remember some of the choices like, darn, I really wish game B could have been in here rather than game A. And like sort of kicking sand and, I wish something else could have happened. But then when I read down the entire list of winners, I was like, oh yeah, like I agree with those. Did you guys have a similar feeling going through this process where you were like, oh, I don't know, as it was happening, and then the winners, you're like, I come around to that? Or just me? Just me.
I feel like the final... No. I feel like the final 4 in each category made the most sense. None of them were bad games or games that didn't fit there. Some of my favorites maybe didn't fit in the categories, but I know that they weren't the crowd pleasing favorites, and there wasn't any category where my choices were blown out. I had some of my choices represented in each category. And so the initial document where we just threw in all of our nominees, you could list, I guess, as many as you wanted. It wasn't like, nominate your top 4, I don't think. And with 8 of us, there could have been, what is that, 40 or 30 different nominees in each category. So that, obviously it wasn't.
I guess the reason I bring this up is to say that there were a lot of games to choose from and a lot of really worthy games in each category, like way more so than were mentioned even in nominees. So if you weren't nominated Dev ABCZ, it wasn't because somebody didn't say your name. There were probably somebody that did say your name in there.
Very much so, yeah. Yeah, your name probably came up a lot.
Yeah.
One of my favorite soundtracks didn't come up at all. That was for Penrose.
One of my all-time games of season 1 did not come up in the noms, and that's one I was sort of kicking sand about. But anyway, yeah. So again, all this to say, like, there were a ridiculous amount of amazing games out there, and please don't be bummed if your name didn't come up in the noms or the winners. Thank you so much for making games for this awesome little platform.
We're lucky that we get to nominate Indie Game of the Week every week. So we've picked 20 games of the year individually. So we've got 60 games of the year so far, or that's close.
Right. Yeah.
Right, Nick?
That's right, everybody.
Nick, your heater is not that loud. Nick's heater is on in the background. So he's trying to stay muted because he's such a kind guy. Don't worry about it, Nick. No one can hear your heater.
Okay.
I have a feeling Nick is also weary from making 3 pinball machines in 1 week.
Nah.
Yeah. So everybody, welcome special guest star, my heater. But also, yeah, I just want to echo what Ryan and Don were saying, in that we're really lucky to be able to have contributed to this award show. I was so impressed with the production values of the award show, and all the nominees, and all the game experiences and things that have shown up on the Playdate over the past year. It was just really cool to be able to discuss that in long format. And unfortunately, the timing was very tough for all of us. But it was really great to see it come to fruition. And just, again, I'm going to say the production was so incredible. Like on a there's a few different hobby type award ceremonies that I've seen, and this is like tiers and tiers above everything. So incredible. Absolutely. And so much work. So I want everyone to know how very much it is appreciated, both as an observer and as a participant / judge. So great work to everybody on the production side, and of course all the nominees and those that weren't nominated. Every game, fantastic. So thanks, everybody.
It was a really incredible production. It really was. I mean, it had really skits, it had trailers, it had interviews, or not interviews. It had celebrity appearances. The Island Boys had made an appearance,
live and pre-recorded.
Yeah,
I can't imagine, getting everything to function properly in that. I've done some small live stream stuff, and there are so many things which can go wrong. But doing it all live is like another level of scary.
On different continents.
Yeah. Crazy. So
with a live chat going and everything.
Amazing. Yeah. And I was only able to see about 20 minutes of the actual awards, but I do have it queued up. Yeah, I do have it queued up to watch the full thing at some point.
Yeah, they put the whole thing up on YouTube.
Yeah, that's perfect. So, I mean, just everything about it, so great. Great work.
So, link in the show notes. But a lot of trailers were shown. Mobware, which was sort of like a WarioWare I don't know, WarioWare homage type of deal. P Racing, the very cool kart racer with amazing effects and whatnot. Llama, they didn't write down who was doing what, so I'm dropping the ball a little bit here. The new release from Fat Nose Games, which actually comes out today, Crank Gym, it's out now. We have not played it yet, but we'll talk about that a little bit more soon. Gravity Express looks awesome. Really cool trailer. That one is out soon or next year. Skew, which is like a side project to another game, like a full console release. This is like a side spin-off game.
Wow.
That looks really fun. Yeah, it's like a first-person flying game. I don't know. It looks like something from Metal Gear, like a Metal Gear Gadget game or something. Really cool. I mean, there's just so much stuff going on in the show. I really encourage people to see it. But what do you think? Let me see here. We got winners. Do you want to talk about any of the categories? Game of the Year, Adventure Game of the Year. Were there anything? Game of the Year nominees: Balance Brew, Bloom, Ratcheteer, Saturday Edition. Bloom was one that I didn't really see anybody talking about, and all of a sudden it was like in every category at the end there. So I think everybody just assumed everybody just loved it and kept clicking the Bloom button instead of like having a discussion about it. There wasn't anything to say, just everybody liked it, and so it was just getting votes. There was no arguing, so it was kind of cool to see that one pop up. I know Nick's a big fan.
I am. So very very satisfied to see representation in some of my favorite genres in this type of award format, because that's pretty unusual.
Mm-hmm. And while I love that they split up Pulp Games and SDK Games, I like that the season games are just mixed in there. Like Game of the Year has 2 season games and 2 indie games, which is really neat. There's no division, which I really appreciated that. And I don't even think that was a conversation. Not on our end as judges. It was just assumed that it would all be in mix.
Yeah, it just showed up that way.
So who did end up winning Game of the Year? I missed that.
Ratcheteer won Game of the Year.
Okay.
So that I felt like that was a very well-rounded pick for Game of the Year. That's pretty close to a AAA experience on the Playdate. So Balance Brew was kind of the underdog I was pulling for, but I was totally happy that Ratcheteer got it. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, that was one of them where I was kicking a little sand in the nominations because I thought Hyper Meteor should have at least been in the noms, and I don't even think it was. I super love that game, and spoiler alert, I think it's even surpassed Whitewater Wipeout for me. And, that was such a beloved game for me. It still is. And Hyper Meteor is just such an incredible experience, though. I was really surprised it did not get more love. I don't know. I guess Pick Pack Pup Nick was not part of the award or nomination committee.
I think Hyper Meteor won.
Vote for that too.
I think it won Best Arcade Game, didn't it?
It won one category, yeah.
Yeah. It did have a category experience, and when I saw that, I thought, okay, I feel somewhat vindicated. But
it won against Whitewater Wipeout, even.
That's cool. I am okay with that, and that's all that matters.
Okay. It got in there.
Yep. It would have been my top pick. Nick, what would your top pick for Game of the Year have been?
Right. From these choices?
From anything game,
anything we're going to talk about on our next podcast, Ryan.
Is that right?
On our top 10 of 2022.
Oh gosh. I guess we'll wait.
All right, let me lay him out here.
Coming back.
10-1.
Nick, from the 4 choices in the Game Awards, yes, Balance Brew, Bloom, Ratcheteer, and Saturday Edition. These are like hand-picked Nick games.
I know.
What would get your vote for game of the year?
Game of the year, I think I'd have to agree with what you said in Ratcheteer, being such a well-rounded experience. It hits on multiple levels. You got the Zelda contingent mixed with people who like weird actions from the crank. So
Yeah.
you got a little bit of everything. Humor, fun, adventure, excitement. It's all there. Sound effects, music. These are all things that are available
These are all elements.
in Ratcheteer.
I feel like
I
you could
would.
use just a little bit more, progressive scoring and then whapping boulders with the tail end of your ship. But aside from that, it was super, super good.
How far have you played into Ratcheteer?
Yeah,
Ryan?
it might be in there, Ryan. I don't know. There's a lot to it.
There is. Yeah.
Right.
And
Go ahead, Nick.
yeah. Even if you love mazes, something for everybody. I feel fairly strongly that was a good pick.
Yeah, that's a killer game. Agreed.
Are you guys familiar with the Four Horsemen that kept coming up? The Four Horsemen of Pulp? They kept mentioning it because like the same 4 games kept getting nominated for like pulp games. Mm-hmm. It was like Leadbetter's Art 7, Ron Lent with Island, Zhang Zhongbu for Castle Helios, and Fat Nose for Long Game of Spider. There were like 3 or 4 categories where those 4 games got nominated, so they kept calling them the Four Horsemen.
That's funny.
Yeah, but with good reason. They're great games. So many great games, though. Yeah, I was listening to IGN today. They were talking about the regular kind of, I guess, 2020 games, and they were like, it's a 4 out of 10 year, blah blah blah. And I'm like, man, this is the first year of Playdate, and this is like a 10 out of 10 year already.
Totally.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Next year's going to top it.
Yeah, one of the things that it made me realize, hearing all these nominations and winners coming down the pipeline, and even feeling like, oh, there's so many that I wish could have been in there, made me feel so lucky that I have one of these things and I'm a part of this experience already. I mean, because there's still a lot more Playdates ready to come out. I've got a buddy who I convinced to get one, and he's waiting on it. I'm sure it'll come in 23. But regardless, I felt really lucky to be able to be part of this experience. It's so enjoyable to share these games with you and the community, and the fact that folks were passionate enough to put this award ceremony together just speaks volumes to this community. So everybody, great job.
Very nice. I wanted to thank Fecto Factor 13. He put together a collection on itch of all the nominees.
Oh, that's cool.
So it'll be a link in the show notes. Not only that, but he listed why they're there. So like Daily Driver, winner of Outstanding Technical Achievement. That's why it's on the list.
Or even nominees.
Right. Nominees, Best App or Knick-Knack, France Horn. That's why it's on the list. So thank you, Nick F., for doing that.
That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. Yeah. So there's a hand-picked little list there. If they were nominated or won multiple prizes, they're all listed underneath.
Oh my gosh.
That list.
Yeah.
So very handy list. And
thank you, Nick.
Cherry picked for a really strong collection if you just got your Playdate or you're looking for what to play next. Good place to start.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of places to start, there was also like a little trailer from the Strangest.io. They had like a whole lot of stuff going on, but they announced this mega drop. I don't know if you guys saw this. It's $999.99 on itch. You don't have to buy that. It's split up into a bunch of different pieces. So there's different games on here that they announced. They announced updates for Shadow Gadget and Shining Gadget. A physical copy of those games, like they made 50 of them. You can get a physical SD card and like a CD-ROM with GhostNet on it. And then a demo for Wastebraver, so you can play the combat test, which I played today. I wanted to be fresh on it. And the combat's pretty fun. Use the crank to kind of like hone in on your attack, and then use the face button or the directional buttons to make the actual attacks. and then when they go to attack you, you have to like move your shield, crank it over to where their sword is falling. So you're like moving it along a line and like trying to block the sword attacks. The graphics are really fun. The character designs are, of course, really good. So you got nothing to lose by checking out the demo. Available now. So basically, they just made this ridiculously priced Mega Drop bundle where you could see all of their announcements in one spot. And there's also a bundle there. This $29.99 Mega Drop. Oh, the bundle ended. So we won't talk about that bundle. But we can talk about the other bundle. There's another bundle, the Community Awards bundle. Not the Community Awards bundle. Where's the other bundle?
Holiday bundle.
The holiday bundle. I didn't stick it. Oh no, it's right at the top. Sorry. It got shuffled in here. Thank you, Nick. The Playdate Community Holiday Bundle, also $29.95. This one runs, I think, until January the 1st. Yes, it's going right now. So a lot of the games we just mentioned, Art 7, Legend of Etod, Generations, Along Came a Spider, etc. Mad City, tons of great games. $30. You can save over 50% off. You got 12 more days, so hop on that. There'll be a link in the show notes. Really cool art that they made for the promotion and whatnot. So wanted to mention that before we forget. Okay. Ryan looks pensive. I also wanted to mention, while we were recording our last episode, Bubbo Collect, one of Nick's games of the week, launched a major update and a sale. It's currently 50% off. But let's see, it's got new levels. Where's the information about the massive overhaul here? Let's see, 30 new levels, new cutscenes, new boss battle, a tip section, new songs, a new ending, new post-game content, as well as lots of quality of life changes.
Oh my gosh. It's like a brand new game.
It's on sale for $1?
$1.
What?
A deal at twice the price.
Good golly.
Very, very good game. Yes. Nick turned me on to this one when he made it his game of the week several months ago, but very, very good game.
I'll take credit for that. Thank you.
Well, give credit to Gabe Swar for making a great game. And I'll give a little hint to our listeners. There are secrets in the game. So look around the corners and whatnot.
Huh.
There's only cool the corners?
No, not only the corners, but the levels aren't that big. You can take a little peek around.
Yeah. Very cool. I got to jump on that. While I'm jumping on that, I thought I'd also mention the fact that Zanya Lasagna adopts a turtle or two via game sales. So Zanya Lasagna from Reach the Ocean, the fun turtle puzzler game. And she has a fondness for turtles, obviously. And through game sales, has been able to adopt a couple of turtles. And she's working on another animal or two, an owl, an octopus. The jury's out. Anyway, I should probably read closer. But we're going to include a link to her Twitter update about adopting that turtle. So congrats to Zanya. Also, thanks for making your game sales do good things in the world. That's so cool of you.
It is, yeah. And also sales of Gotta Get Home, the new holiday-themed game that just came out.
Fantastic. Yeah. And speaking of Gotta Get Home, in the inventory, Don, take it away.
Yeah, Gotta Get Home launched 11 days ago. It is free to play, name your own price, or the suggested price of $1.50. The idea is Santa needs you to help him out, your little Playdate friend. So you go around and you deliver presents on the beach, in the parking lots, in the caverns, in the grottos. I did do an evil Santa speed run, by the way. I don't know if you guys have played it. I went straight to the exit and made Santa cry. But I also went around and was distributing presents, so I got an average ending as well. I have not gotten the perfect ending yet. It is it's challenging. You want to make sure everybody gets their gift, so I'm working on it. But
I'm still in awe that this was just like a, hey, I'm between games, so I'm going to make a game. This felt very Nick Baldridge to me. Like, you can't just make games. You've got to make games in your off time too. This was really quite a treat. And for name your own price, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is.
That's nuts. Zanya, you're too good to us.
All these holiday games, I love it. Did you see? It's not on the list, but Super Tax Evader or whatever added like a holiday update. Santa's like shredding presents under the tree. It's a free update.
That's fantastic.
Which is pretty cool. Paging Dr. Floppy is one of the two strangest.io games that was announced. You're basically, what is this game? It's one of the Game & Watch games, right? Isn't this one of the fire ones where people are jumping out of buildings and you're trying to catch them?
Well, it could be that. It could also be Chef. Okay. But yeah, that makes sense. I see it now.
But there's like body parts falling and you're trying to catch them and get a malpractice warning or something. I don't know what's going on. It's pretty crazy. It is $2.49. Another one from strangest.io is Snoik. It is
way cheaper than buying Chef. I will throw in before we move on to Snoik.
The Paging
Dr. Floppy.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure. Snoik is a snake homage. So it's like a super crazy version of Snake. I thought this is the one you will hear more about possibly from Ryan.
What are you talking about? That's totally going to be a surprise. Anyway.
This one's not a surprise though. Snoik. I have not played this yet. $7.99. It looks like a super crazy version.
It looks insane.
It reminds me of like Ikaruga from the GIFs that I'm seeing.
Yeah,
it's Ikaruga, the 3D GLtron snake.
It also reminds me a little bit of that impossible to control snake that came out real early in the Playdate life cycle, where it could be wasn't it potentially played by two players, but like one was
yeah. That was one of my games of the week.
Yes.
That obviously you loved.
I forget the name. Did you guys ever play Snake.io?
What?
Oh yeah.
A few years ago, 5-6 years ago. Yeah, this kind of looks like that too.
Mm-hmm.
A one-player version, maybe?
That wasn't what it was called though, was it?
Yeah, Snake.io.
Snake.io? Okay, yeah. Snake, yeah. My kids called it Snake.io. That's why.
Snake.io. That's a better name, to be honest.
There you go.
Anyway, what the Snoik? Check it out. Next up is Hot Steam. Call me Steam. Anything with the word name Steam in it draws my attention. $1. I played most of this. I'm not sure how many acts it is.
This is a name your own price, actually.
Oh, sorry. Name your own price. Yeah. When I put $1, I always put the suggested amount when you click the download now thing. It's like, sometimes it's $4, sometimes it's $1. Anyway, this is name your own price, but suggested $1. This one just looked weird, so I decided to play it. And
me too. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
It's kind of just like conversations between a couple in different acts. Like one guy, he's at work and he's just like texting, I guess, his girlfriend and having conversations, trying to like do his business, his work routine, really bored at work while he's texting.
Really? Did you not start out in the shower?
I think I started in the shower.
Yeah. Okay. And then it moved on to a bed, like an overhead view of the bed.
I didn't know it was a bed at first. I thought it was a jar or something.
Took me a minute. It was very geometric, but it was like a straight overhead view, but then your bodies are like, anyway, doesn't matter. Better overhead view. And then go on. Sorry.
Then The Office, I think. And then I guess I'm on Act 4 now.
Okay. I made it to Act 3 and then I had a kitten to pet. So,
okay.
Anyway, it was such a hoot. Usually I have like I am expecting game expectations when I download a thing. And even though this was not like, using all the buttons, it was more narrative, like strictly narrative. I don't know. I just found myself really oddly captivated by this weird little experience. What did you think?
Yeah, it's kind of charming.
Yeah.
It's more like Florence. I'm not sure if you played that one on mobile.
No.
Not as Yeah, Nick has Florence really emotionally affected me. This is not that type of thing, but it is like the early stages of Florence.
Okay.
The honeymoon period of Florence, unless this goes more towards the other parts of Florence.
I
Okay.
wonder how many acts there are in this.
I'm assuming not very many, but I don't know.
I would assume the same. I thought it would end after 3. I thought I was getting
Me
near
too.
the end, but evidently not if you're on Act 4.
Yeah.
Maybe there's 365.
Maybe. Wow. They said it's a short Playdate game. It's right there in the description.
Right.
It does contain explicit language. It does not contain nudity, sex, or other adult content. So it's just like a cute little game. Anyway.
Super weird. Very different.
Mhm.
Very interesting and fun.
Kind of cool. And then Hurdy Gurdy from Low Tech Games, $3 is the, I guess, normal price.
Did I tell you all that I was looking into hurdy-gurdies recently?
Oh, well, of course you are, Nick.
I've always thought those were cool, and I love any kind of rotational instrument. I think you can apply rotation in really interesting ways to make music, and hurdy-gurdies are really neat.
What the heck is a hurdy-gurdy?
It's like a crank violin.
What in the world?
Mixed with piano, because there are keys that you hold down, which are like preset chords, basically.
I thought this was just like the name of an old pinball machine or something.
No,
it didn't mean anything.
It probably is.
No, well, hurdy-gurdy is the Adaball version of Central Park. But anyway.
Told you.
Got that pinball humor in here.
Yeah.
My God.
So
we're going to have to add a link in the show notes to a hurdy-gurdy performance.
The hurdy-gurdy app is really awesome, and I've been looking forward to it ever since Low Tech posted that he was working on it.
A medieval wheel instrument. What in the world?
It uses rosin, so it's the same material. It's like sap that they use to coat bows for bowed instruments like violin or viola. But you just spin it with a crank.
Don, can you please include this link to a hurdy-gurdy performance in the show notes for today's episode?
Yeah, just throw it up there. I think when Low Tech, when he posted on Twitter or in the Discord or something about doing a hurdy-gurdy, my only reference was that it's on a Metallica song. They use a hurdy-gurdy.
Oh, really?
On Low Man's Lyric, I think they use one.
That's
and then I think Weezer uses one at some point too. But that's what taught me. I don't know.
Welcome to the hurdy-gurdy episode, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm surprised there's not a Labo version, Nick.
I know.
We can make that happen.
Well, I guess we should. Yeah, we can make that work.
Yeah.
Labo-gurdy.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, Low Tech did like a live Playdate theme. Well, it wasn't live; it was pre-recorded. But he did an orchestra during the Playdate Community Awards with all his different music apps. Yeah,
so
he did
cool.
a musical performance during the award show. So check that out too.
That's awesome.
Very creative.
Okay. Oh, somebody stuck it in there. Thank you. What is this? There's some other link in here. Strategy thread. Sorry. I put a link in here to a game I'm going to talk about later, and I messed up my rhythm here. So this next one, Mash Gadget. I don't know what this is. It looks like one of those speed. Have you seen these toys where like you try and tap as fast as you can, and it keeps track of how many taps you hit at once?
Yeah.
It's basically one of those for the Playdate.
I've played this. Either I've played this already. Is this new?
This is like a fancier version. I think there's another one on the Playdate, and I think there might be a Wii version, something like this, like a WiiWare something.
There's a million different apps, but I mean specifically on the Playdate, there's a very similarly interfaced.
At launch, there was something like this.
Yeah,
not this. Looks like their version 1.0.1 update was back in April of 2022.
Oh, you're right. Well,
Maybe
why is this posting? Why is this launching on the new releases thing then? They broke the system. They figured it out.
Code, that's right.
Yeah. Everybody email this guy, Bipedal Dog, and figure out how he did it.
Well, their 103 update was 6 days ago. Does that bump them to the top?
I don't think so.
No, normally it doesn't. That's what we keep talking about. It's like, how do you keep
everything
getting
gets
to
buried.
the top of the list?
Yeah. Well, what are we doing talking about this then?
Sorry,
Well,
we've upset
yeah.
Ryan.
Anyway,
Bipedal Dog has done it. So
Uh,
very cool.
Zombie Sokoban by by another developer. It is $4. I'm sure you've seen Sokoban games. Very cool puzzle game. 60 levels with a zombie pushing the box around. We have talked about Dexterity, I think, is one of the games we've mentioned from the Game Boy. Oh, maybe we didn't mention it on this podcast. Maybe it was the other podcast. Anyway, it looks really good. I've not played it yet, but it's $4.
Cool.
It was formerly an Xbox game.
Huh.
Play Painter. Ryan, there's an art game on the Playdate now.
I knew you were going to turn to me on this.
Nick, you can do art now. You can take Ryan's job and make art on the Playdate.
Finally.
For $3. You too can be an art professor for $3.
Yeah, this of course, the thing that I jumped to is Art Alive on the Sega Genesis. Mario Paint.
Yes.
But very cool.
Yes.
The Playdate has needed an app like this, I think. So
yeah, looks pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Simple little painting tool. Looks pretty cool. And then
I'm hoping they can update it with the rocket ship to clear the screen, though.
Maybe they can license the rocket from Rocket Bytes.
There we go.
Axolotl.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the Crank Gym we mentioned from Fat Nose Games we will be playing soon. It just came out like right before we started recording today, so we've not tried it.
Super looking forward to this.
Yes, we're gonna be totally ripped. Cranking at the Crank Gym.
Gigantic right arms. But in the meantime, we should probably get to our indie games of the week. Do you want to start, Don?
Sure, I will start. My indie game of the week is yet another Scenic Route Software game. I have done almost all of their games as my indie game of the week. But this one is called Four Corners, not Four Square, as I embarrassingly called it in front of the dev. I heard an ooh, Nick. Did you try this one?
Four Corners is one of the most beautiful pinball machines ever. So, I have heard nothing of the Playdate game.
I lived near Four Corners. It's where the only place 4 U.S. states touch.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's also
my hands and feet in all four corners at one point in my life.
Oh, that's actually not where they meet. It's several hundred yards away from that point.
Yeah, but there's not a commemorative plaque.
I know you touched the plaque though. The plaque is way cooler.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a really cool game. Basically, it's like this crazy looking checkerboard with 3 different colors, and you want to match. You have this little 4-cornered square that you can spread open, and you want all 4 corners to touch the same color. And when they do, then that whole block disappears. And you get points for however many blocks you touched. It is kind of difficult to understand what's going on looking at the GIFs. But when you play it, it's real simple to understand. You can understand it in less than 10 seconds. And it's very fun. He actually added an update this week, I think today or yesterday, that adds difficulty settings. So there's an easy, hard, and normal settings. And the default, if you've already played it, is actually the hard mode. So all your high scores will be moved to the hard leaderboard. There's leaderboards for each difficulty now. If you get stuck, initially you only start with 30 seconds to make as many squares as you can, or rectangles. In 30 seconds. If you get stuck, you have bombs. You just hit B, and it blows all of one color off the board, making it that much easier with only 2 colors to match up your squares. He also made a really cool Twitter thread with tips and tricks that I will share in the show notes. That really helped me understand how to get better. And there's also little bonus tiles, kind of like power-ups, that once you hit certain levels, they start to show up and increase your score even more. So just another super polished, super fun, addictive puzzle game from Scenic Route Software. Got to check it out. $4.99 on itch right now.
I would have been really confused just trying to figure out the GIFs, and your explanation helped me quite a bit. I'm sure the words here do too, but thank you for explaining that, Don. This looks really cool and very different. I love these puzzle type games, and I might have to go download this. This looks great.
It's pretty fun. I don't when the puzzle games are a little too hard, they're not for me. But when they're just like super bite size, boom, 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 speed run, I love them, and he's very good at making those. So Ryan,
Yes.
your game of the week. I need to hear about it because yet another apples being consumed type game.
All right. So I'm talking about reSnake this week. And this is a name your own price game. And honestly, I kind of had this game written off. I downloaded a few or sideloaded a few of them thinking this is not the game I'm going to be talking about this week. But in spite of myself, I really gravitated toward this one and couldn't put it down. So I just went with my gut this week, and I'm talking about reSnake. So my gut reaction was, look, we got a really killer reimagining of Snake in Snack, the season 1 game on the Playdate. And, in that game, there are carnivorous apples who are trying to get you, and you can jump up on top of your own body and ride it and eat additional apples. Anyway, a really killer game. And so I thought, whatever. Anyway, I'll try it out. And there are a couple of different things happening in this game that distinguish it from traditional Snake games. So one of those things is that the sides of the screen are infinite, or loop rather. So if you go off the right-hand side of the screen, you come back out the left, rather than, ramming into it and dying. The other thing that is different is that it gives you 3 redos, and they call it a rewind, where you can crank back, but essentially it's like a redo. So initially I thought that was kind of a little bit hokey too, because I thought, you're going to get unlimited redos, but that's not the case. You get a limited amount of redos, which is only 3. Okay, that makes sense to me now. And I guess there's 3 things that make it different. The third thing that makes it different is that scoring is progressive. So it's sort of like if Snake had a baby with Hyper Meteor. There's progressive scoring, how it can mount on top of one another if you get the next apple in a certain amount of time, and also with those sides and tops of the screen looping, but with Snake. So I thought that was a really cool, subtle change to this game. And I feel like I'm saying the wrong word. Progressive, multiplicative. What do you call that scoring? Where you have to get it
combo scoring?
Combo scoring. Thank you. I don't know why my brain's not working, but thanks. So combo scoring, the amount of time allotted between apples is so tight. And in the beginning, it's doable. But as you continue consuming apples, every third apple, your snake grows a little bit more. As you continue on throughout the game, it's quasi impossible to rack up multipliers from the combos that you're getting, because your big snake body gets in the way and you can't get to it fast enough. So it's really interesting how in the beginning, you can really start racking up a lot of points, because you can get 2x, 3x, 9x, 10x multipliers and really start adding up some points pretty quickly. But as your snake body grows, you're like slogging away for those last singular points, and occasionally an apple will pop up nearby and you can, get a 2x multiplier, and it's like, oh my God, now I don't have to spend the next 5 seconds trying to hunt for another point. Anyway, I thought it was very interesting, despite my negative knee-jerk reaction. So if you're thinking, why would I download another Snake game? I urge you to give this a try. Guys, what do you think?
Are snakes omnivores?
Excuse me?
Are snakes omnivores? Would a snake eat an apple?
Like in real life?
Yeah, in real life.
I doubt it. Aren't they meativores?
They're carnivores.
Are all of them carnivores?
I don't know. That's all I could think about, because
Actually,
there's so many snakes eating apple games.
That's
a biblical connotation, but
maybe this is another hidden Playdate Easter egg thing, like the rats that show up in every game.
Like cows on Williams games or what?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So
I just did the heavy lifting of asking Google, and it says all
Thank you.
snakes are carnivores. Their diet depends
okay.
on the species. Some eat warm-blooded prey, rodents, rabbits, birds, while others eat insects, amphibians, frogs or toads, eggs, other reptiles, fish, earthworm, slugs. So,
Well,
snakes are carnivores.
I appreciate the fictional turn and leaving the nice warm animals safe and eating replenishable products like apples. I like that aspect of the game. Ryan, normally I am not a score chaser. I'll leave that to you, but you talked me into it. I bought the game while you were talking about it. It sounds fun.
Awesome.
Screenshots look pretty normal, but yeah, the gameplay sounded pretty fun.
Artwork is nothing to write home about. This is really kind of hearkening back to original snakeness. It's not Snack from season 1 that has, some nice Nevin Mergen artwork pasted on it, but it is a very functional and polished game otherwise, and with some really fun twists. I thought it's not a great wholly reimagined Snake. There's a couple little differences that I thought made it really fun.
That's good enough. You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. Speaking of Snake, did you guys happen to catch, not today's, but like last week's?
Where's this going?
It's going to lead to all the boops. No. Did you guys happen to catch last week's official Playdate podcast where they talked about Snack?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No? Don? You're not listening to podcasts anymore?
I listened to the Sasquatchers one today, but I missed the Snack one.
Oh, bummer. Yeah, I haven't got the Sasquatchers one yet. But anyway, I bring it up because it was interesting to hear the dev talk about how he functions well within major constraints, like not inventing a whole new thing, but like taking an existing thing. And most of his games are just taking that and like moving it a little left of center. Yeah. And Snack was such a perfect example of that with the carnivorous apples and the jumping on top of your own body. And he kept likening Snack to a skateboarding game, which I don't know, it was a bit of a stretch in my mind personally, but I can see what he's doing, talking about, because you're riding on your own body and trying to maneuver around in a particular way. I bring that up also to compare to reSnake, because I think Snack did a couple things with the audio that I thought worked super well that I thought reSnake did not. So one thing I thought Snack did super well was the boop, 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 like the metronome quality of the audio, and it really gave you like a rhythm with which to move your snake. reSnake does not have that. It doesn't have that type of audio, which when I was playing Snack, I thought this is really rudimentary, and even the dev was talking about how it's a pretty rudimentary soundscape. He hesitates to even call it sound design, but it was very deliberately designed. I felt like reSnake could have had an element of that, but at the same time, the cadence by which reSnake is moving is so much faster. It would be almost like a vibration, like in order to move your snake at different intervals. So I was trying to like envision a way that sound design could have helped a little bit in reSnake, and I almost hesitate to have the same thoughts as Snack because it would be like almost too quick to delineate in my mind. I don't know. I'm guessing neither of you have played this reSnake game yet. Is that correct? Huh.
Correct.
I would love to hear your thoughts on soundscape or lack thereof and potential revisions within reSnake. But with all that said, I had a heck of a time trying to put this down. I was really addicted. I kept seeing how I could boost my score up a little bit more each time, and just, I don't know, I had a really great time with it.
I'll get back to you.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll install it tonight. I feel like the answer is going to be EDM, right? An EDM soundtrack.
That's always the answer. Yeah.
186 beats per second.
It's got to be. Are you familiar with Zach Gage, Ryan, the dev?
I am not. Should I be?
Look him up get in your app store on your phone, and most of his games are twists on classic games. Good Sudoku.
Oh, you're talking about the
Bad
Snack
Chess,
dev, not the reSnaked dev.
The Snack dev.
Okay.
Bad Chess, Good Sudoku, Solitaire. He's made a lot of very famous games that are twists on Scrabble, Solitaire, Poker, Sudoku.
He rattled off all of those in the podcast episode that I mentioned. And, because I have not been gaming since pre-2000, I did not know about any of them. But
check them out.
I should probably look them up because I really loved Snack.
They're not as arcadey, I guess, in a way. They're more puzzly. Well, I mean, they're if you like the games that he's referencing, if you like Sudoku, etc., you'll appreciate them.
Cool. I'll have to check those out.
Yeah. Well, Nick, I'm not going to put you on the spot. Nick has been busy.
I'm the useless third host.
No.
I have not even turned my Playdate on since the last episode. But I have been playing a lot of the hit indie pinball game Drained.
Plug. We need a cash register. Mouse. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Yeah.
Way to work that in past the Donometer.
That's the only game that I've played in the past 2 weeks as I've been building and testing games. So,
Nick, where could somebody find such a game as
Ryan, I'm glad you asked. You can find all about it at drainedpinball.com.
Don's going to boop all this out.
I can put it in the permanent link section at the bottom.
There we go.
I'll just delete Ryan's link and then
I always watch that to see if I've made it.
I just copy paste it over and over. So
nice.
I just like seeing Don sweat during our episode for one reason or another. It's got to be boops or self-promotional goodness or something. We've got to figure out something.
I thank you guys for being good hosts, patting your backs. Not too many boops, not too much pinball stuff.
Did I Rainy boop it in today enough? Was that acceptable?
You did a very acceptable job.
Okay. I don't want to overload your therapist this week. So
beautiful wrapped present just for me.
Tell them I say hello.
I think I mentioned pinball in every segment this episode. So.
Yeah, but they were good pinball gags for our devoted pinball listeners.
There we go.
Yeah.
We got to talk about hurdy-gurdy. Come on.
That's true.
Hurdy-gurdy does sound like a classic pinball machine. Classic Gottlieb or something.
It is.
Is it really?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
you've done it.
I thought
you've cracked the code.
I thought that was like a solid Nick joke, not a.
No, that's a real thing. Yep.
Yeah, it's an Adaball.
Is that the one with the bell?
Yeah, in the back box.
Yes, it really is.
Is it the monkey ringing the bell?
It's like a hillbilly, probably.
It's
gosh.
I've stumped Nick.
With a box.
Nick is stumped.
No,
it is a monkey. Yeah. It is the monkey. Yeah.
The monkey rings the bell, but the guy with the box, and that is not a hurdy-gurdy. It's called something else. And
a monkey-o-boxinator.
Just some dude with a box. I don't know what that is.
No. There's a name for that.
Hey, Boxelin. Hey.
Are you making up stuff or Googling it?
No, I'm making things up.
Okay.
I wish.
All right, let's put this horse to bed. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the first 20 minutes of this. You're welcome to follow us on Discord. The links will be in the show notes. Our website, playdatepodcast.com.
Nick is so furiously Googling right now.
Email us, helloplaydatepodcast@gmail.com.
We love you all. Goodbye.
Good night.
Boop.
Thanks, everybody.
Drainedpinball.com.
That's right. Thanks, Don.